guys, you're watching our video first look and a quick review of the ARCHEER A225. This is a wireless Bluetooth stereo speaker that features a unique fabric covered design that makes it a good fit for homes and offices if you're looking for a distinctive look. Otherwise, the design really reminds me of the Amazon Echo from its cylindrical shape, and it also has a really intuitive volume control set that's kind of tilted and makes it easier to change and navigate the volume, as we'll show you when we discuss the hardware and design of the speaker next. As far as the cost is concerned, you can pick this up for about $40 on Amazon, which is a fair price, I'd say, for a pretty good wireless Bluetooth speaker. And you can also use a traditional 3.5mm headphone if you want to use wired connection as opposed to wireless Bluetooth. The diagramming here gives you a brief indicator of how the controls work, from the volume to the play pause, and you can also use this to answer and reject phone calls and use it as a speakerphone for your Android or iOS device with its integrated microphone. There's also NFC built on here, which allows you to easily tap to pair if your phone also features an NFC. The battery is rated at 2,000 mAh capacities, which will give you about 8 hours of continuous audio playback before you need to recharge it again, and it fully charges up in under 2 hours. So inside the packaging, there's access to a micro USB cable for charging the speakers themselves, the auxiliary cable if you don't want to use wireless Bluetooth, and there's a quick start guide documented in full color that tells you how to pair things and use the various features. Here's the actual speaker itself. What's kind of interesting is the top you can see is slightly tilted at an angle, which makes it easier to see and access these controls. There's a soft touch rubber material coated on the top, which makes it easier to grip and change the volume settings. You can see that turning the wheel clockwise turns the volume up, and counterclockwise turns the volume down. This is very intuitive and makes this very haptic and kind of kinesthetic way of adjusting the volume in a very precise manner, which we love. Otherwise, the center key can also be used to answer, reject phone calls, and play and pause your music, and it's a capacitive touch control, which is fairly sensitive and easy to use. Again, the material of the fabric is really soft, and it gives a very distinctive look. It's a felt look. If you look really closely, there's quite a bit of detailing happening with the color scheme, and I believe there are a few other variants in terms of the fabric materials that you can pick from if you want to get a specific match for your home or environment. So definitely a really interesting look. It's clean, it doesn't attract fingerprints, and it doesn't get dirty that easily. There's the company's logo at the bottom, along with the soft touch rubber material that prevents it from sliding around, and the very base here also features a power switch in addition to the NFC tag for pairing. This is kind of an odd placement for the NFC tab and the power switch, but we understand that since the top is preoccupied with the other controls, they had to fit it somewhere. Still, we kind of wish the volume and the power switch would have been on the side, and the NFC tag would be on maybe the other side, as opposed on the very bottom, and you have to pick it up each time to pair it. Otherwise, a very clean presentation. There's a rubber flap that covers up the micro USB and 3.5mm headphone jack, and this is a water-resistant speaker, but it's not fully waterproof, so make sure you don't submerge it in water and you should be fine. So overall, the design is really clean and elegant looking. Next, we're going to show you guys a quick audio sample and discuss the audio quality of this speaker. Alright, so we've managed to pair it with the phone using Bluetooth pretty quickly. I'm just going to play a few kind of notifications as a demo of ringtones as far as how the volume is going to work. hope that gave you guys a kind of brief idea of what the volume output of the speaker is like. It definitely projects the sound, I would say, 360 degrees like the Amazon Echo, which is good since no matter where you place the speaker at, you can still hear its volume. Something I did notice is there's a little bit of distortion or static in the background. So when it's playing the volume through the wireless Bluetooth, if you listen super closely by turning the volume all the way down or all the way up, you will notice a little bit of it's not super clear. So that's something to be expected from a non-hi-fi or audiophile grade kind of wireless Bluetooth speaker here. Otherwise, the microphone here is loud and clean. I tried it with a few speakerphone calls, and there were no issues as far as the testing with my users, and they told me that call sounded really natural. They thought I was using a regular phone, and they couldn't tell that I was using a Bluetooth speaker, which is good. And again, the battery life and performance are all on the longer side of this spectrum, which is decent. Playing back music has a pretty good bass response, so lower frequency sounds come through and it punches pretty nicely. It's not the cleanest sounding speaker in the world, so some of the separation is a little bit muddy if you are listening to something like classical music, which is super intricate and has a lot of different instruments playing, and you want to differentiate every single part. It's not going to do quite as well there. But for playing back some general, maybe let's say pop music, rock music, or even listening to soundtracks for movies, it does a great job. Certainly a lot louder and better than any phone or laptop speaker that's built on in, so it is going to be an upgrade in that sense, and it's great for doing, again, speakerphone calls if you're using it for conferences in the home or in the office. I really like the control set. I thought that the volume controls weren't quite as sensitive as I thought they were originally. You kind of have to twist it for a little bit for it to really work and register, and you can hear that beep. That means I've reached the maximum in terms of either being the loudest or the least in terms of the most silent, and it gets pretty loud, so it fills up spaces fairly well, despite not having the cleanest sound in the world. But for this price point, I can't really complain. Certainly is very similar to other speakers in this relatively low-cost category, but you really are getting this special and beautiful design and eye-catching fabric look with this specific model. So if you like what you're seeing here, I would say it's a green light. Just be aware that your expectations should be tempered by the fact that it isn't super expensive, and so it's not the cleanest sounding speaker in the world. Anyways, guys, this has been our quick video first look and first impressions review of the ARCHEER A225, the fabric Bluetooth speaker, which you can find in the links down below. Thanks for watching here at OS.